Good morning, everybody. I know this is rather early, and I know that I put on the thumbnail that I wanted mature audiences in the stream this morning because we're going to talk about some deeper concepts, uh, psychological concepts, um, an understanding of the refinement process that we all walk through and go through. So, and why, we have control constructs that are why they still exist in the realm of, possibilities and probabilities, even though you can walk right out of that paradigm. Okay. Um, Let's see, is anybody up? And is anybody here this morning? I don't know. Let's see, where's my channel so I can't see um, the chat very well in the dark room. Good morning, Doc Michaels. How are you? Um, okay. Okay, hold on. I need to fix something here. I have got the wrong background. And that's annoying me, so let me fix it. There. A nice rainbow beach with no words, none of that behind this. Okay, so why do the control constructs still exist? When we're walking through this awakening process and we're going through a refinement period, and many of us have been going through this process for, decades, some as little as a year, and are moving right along with the understanding and understanding of who and what they are and how they are able to interact with one another without casting judgments, and to unconditionally love everyone as brothers and sisters without any judgment or wanting them to change in any way, to love them as they are, for who they are, as the unique divine brother or sister that they are to us. Well, when we are we're creating at we can call it a macro and a micro level. So in the macro, we would call that the collective consciousness, co-creating together what is going on in this existence, in this realm. Well, at this specific time and period, we know that we cannot go without having these control constructs still in existence. Now, as we know, when you walk out of this, that you no longer are in that paradigm, and you don't pay attention to government, you don't pay attention to religion, because everything's pure and you're walking in a new renewing of your mind and heart. So all of that kind of falls to the wayside, and you're not bothered by them, they're not bothered, they don't bother you, and you just move on through. Here's some reasons, and this is going to be like a philosophical discussion here with maturely awakened people who are aware of who they are, their shortcomings, their good qualities, the experiences that we all have and that we share, on why. Let's start with religion, okay? Why would it be important to have religion still in action today? Although we know the finished work and that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, which is said in the good book under Christianity, that even he said when he was walking and talking to each of the disciples before the cross, that some were going to still be alive and actually see the kingdom of heaven. So if that is true, then they actually reach that nirvana point in their life where religion or governing body or none of that affected them anymore because they knew who they were, what they were, and they were manifesting in the micro what was going on around them. It was reflecting around them, manifesting, for lack of a better word. Why we would need religion today is if people really knew the truth that there's no hell, there's no condemnation. When you leave from here, you go to God, you go to the Creator, you go to the one, the divine that has created all things. You are not going to be judged. You're your own judge. And you're not going to be, begging for forgiveness or any of that, because it even says in that book that, since we're starting off with religion, that God is pure love, pure light, with no shadow of turning. Okay? So the information is in the book, but it is still used as a control construct to keep people with using a fear narrative that if you do this, you're going to be condemned to hellfire. And when they think that that is a possibility or probability, and they really don't know who and what they are, they haven't went through the process, the refinement process, they will fear that, and they will not seek vigilante justice or retribution on their brothers and sisters if they feel that they've been wronged by somebody. So that's just one explanation on religion. And we're going to get into discernment and stuff, a little bit later on. Now let's talk about governing bodies. Let me say good morning to, let's see, we got Silent J, we got Red Pill Paul, and Brenda Mitchell. Good morning, good morning. Okay, so we have, in America, we have a president. And then under the president, then we've got the Senate, we've got Congress, and a vice president. And then it tiers down. And then in each state, you've got a governor, then you've got mayors for each county, and sheriffs, and then police departments. It's like a tier down pyramid type system. Again, with that, it is truly there so people do not seek vigilante justice if they feel like they've been wronged. They feel like they have a system that they can go to seek justice or retribution when they feel that they've been wronged or harmed by another. So, when we are in the collective realm, we can't lie to ourselves, and we cannot we can't hide who and what we are and what we're capable of. So with that, in the collective realm, we still are collectively constructing these type of control constructs, so we don't go out and seek after vigilante or eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type behavior, and that we truly accept each other for, who we are, as we are, and knowing that no matter where people are at, no matter what stage of awakening, what stage of their walk, they are loved unconditionally by the Creator, and there is no condemnation. It lifts a lot of weight off of your shoulders, number one. And also, are you ring-a-dinging over there? Sorry, my husband's phone is ringing. And okay, and also, that there's no other place but back to Creator. You have your experiences here. You expand, you grow, you learn. But when you boil us down, we are just all pure love inside of us. Now, when you get, when you're going through the awakening, you go through periods of letting go of things that no longer serve you, and some things we want to cleave to, which would be like old gnosis that would be passed down generation to generation, and things of that nature. We'll think, in the very, very beginning of the walk, we'll think there's actually evil. There's a devil out there tempting us and trying to lure us into his den. And then we've got Jesus that, is trying to pull and pray and save us. So we're in a good, evil, bad, good paradigm. So we are basically dualistic or double-minded. So as we're thinking in a double-minded way, we're confused. So as you go through the process, then the veils come off. You can see clearly, and then you go through the process of, it's likened to a purification process where you are pure inside, and then you realize that so is everybody else, no matter where they're at. Even if you are confused, you're still pure. There's nothing that you could do that would ever have you fall from grace from the creator of this place. So when you listen and you're listening to religious doctrines from any kind of religion, and they teach on sinners, or you need to do this, you need to do that, or you're condemned and it's hellfire, well, use your discernment. If they're using scare tactics to get you to hand over your creative divinity that is already residing within you, walk away from that, because that is something that, when you're going through this process, has been pushed out of you already. Any of those false man-made levels of control to keep us from harming one another or seeking retribution. Because when you come out and you have this understanding about everybody, you have no desire to hurt anybody, to covet anything, to steal or commit adultery, or all of those things that are talked about, that are considered to be like the laws for men. You don't even have those kind of thoughts anymore. So they're just gone. They're not even in your way of thinking anymore. So then you walk in the freedom of the purity of the unconditional love by not wanting justice, by seeing people as who they are, because you know who you are. So when we're looking at the government, when we're ready as a people, as a collective, and we know that if somebody makes a mistake, that we're not going to go out and seek retribution after them, then these constructs will fall apart. But collectively, we're creating these constructs and these narratives to keep our own selves in check. I mean, it's kind of difficult to wrap your mind around how complex that this is, that we're actually creating these false constructs: government, police, jail, justice, harm, victim, survivor, retribution. All of these things, they're not necessary, because we could actually live as equals, in balance and in harmony with one another. But like I said, this is more of a philosophical discussion, and really it's mainly for more maturely awakened people that can, or awakened enough that you know yourself. You know that that maybe you need that religion. Maybe you need to have that a little bit of that fear, so you don't cause harm to somebody else. It's really about getting to know ourselves, know us inside, all the way through and through. So so when we are looking at discernment, look at the government with discernment. Look at what's going on around you with discernment. What does it bring up in you? Fear, or does it bring out purity? Do you see the purity in everybody, or are you afraid of your neighbor? I mean, things happen in our life. It's a part of our growth process. It's a part of our expansion. And to know that these constructs, and there's others, I'm sure, if you guys want to list some, that would be great too, that these constructs are out there and they serve a purpose, but they're only serving a purpose for as long as we feel that we need them. And then once we walk out of that, we are basically walking in the freedom and the liberty and the sovereignty that we've always been, that we forgot, that we now remember. Like I said, then the government doesn't bother you. You don't bother the government. You don't see them. You don't mess with them. You coexist with them, realizing that even the people that are holding positions in police departments or governing bodies or anything, we're all brothers and sisters. So they're just doing what they think is right in order to keep peace. Everything comes from good intentions. Now, I'm not saying that some people aren't twisted in their thoughts, and when they get twisted in their thoughts, good intentions can turn into greed or secret knowledge or gnosis of, what we are learning about ourselves, that people cannot then thrash around, make a scene, use fear to have others hand over their sovereignty and power to create with their abilities what somebody else is promoting. I mean, we see that kind of stuff go on quite a bit. But once you get to a point where you know that you know that you know, you're not going to hand over your sovereignty and your creative abilities and all the gifts that you've been born with. Everybody is born with the same tools, whether awake, asleep, NPC, whatever the label that may be, thrashed onto them. It matters not. Whether we know it or not, we're co-creating any experience that we judge as bad or good. So there is actually no bad or good. There's just experience and growth and expansion. So when you're walking through it with the discernment and coming into your own, well, then you walk right out of worried about what's going on with the government, and you walk right out of any kind of religious oppression that are, these are put in place to keep us in line so we don't hurt each other, because the desire to hurt one another is just gone. It's gone. You just have that. You do not have that desire anymore. Hi, Dead GPK. Angelfish. Truth. Yes. Yeah, it's just it's pure truth. We're going to start getting a little deeper on this channel. I know I've been playing in the shallow end, trying to have people realize the divinity within them and the awakening process. And I am still very interested in people's journeys and awakenings and what they've got going on inside, and sharing, because as we share, we grow, and people will resonate and be like, whoa, that's been going on with me, but I've been afraid to talk about it. And then it'll spark up, and they'll lose the fear of the process and walk through it in record speed, record time. Because I know when you're walking through it and you feel alone, you can question your sanity at some times, because the world is portrayed to us, and it's inverted and upside down. If you want to know the truth, we'll take everything and invert it, because it's upside down. We live in an upside down world. When you have the power and the authority in you, not the top, how we look at it, from, look at our government, not from the president, to the Senate, to the Congress, and the justices, and then everything that goes down from there. It's completely backwards. Everything starts from you and ends with you. Everything begins with you and ends with you. So if you don't like what you see, what's going on, well, you have the very ability within you to change it. And I'm not talking with physical protests or violence or anything like that. I'm talking about getting to know what's in here and what you have been able to do and have been doing your entire life. I mean, it's a really profound inner and understanding. So we're gonna talk a lot more about discernment and what to look for. Are they propagating unconditional love, or are they putting you into a fear narrative? Are they telling you there's demons out there that can influence you, or that demons can possess you, or things like that? That's not true. I'm telling you from my heart of hearts, it's not true. It's a twisting in thinking. So, but if you do believe that, you can actually create that for yourself. And that is a profound understanding about how powerful that you are as an individual, that you can actually create a demon and have it mess with you. And you know, but then again, you can also erase them and uncreate it, because when you realize that, oh my gosh, I created all that craziness. I created that. It's very humbling, and you know, you go through a little bit of a, at least I did, a little bit of a shame face, like, oh my gosh, oh, all this stuff I've been through, and you know, uh, I either, if it was with a group of people, or you know, I co-created the situation and then I walked through it with them, and who can I blame? Who can I hold at fault? I'd have to look just to myself, right? So I mean, it's very humbling when you, especially if you do something big like that, as to create a poltergeist situation, or a haunting, or a demon, you know, type of a situation. That's how powerful that you're able to manifest that. And but at the same token, you're able to, you know, overcome that by, you know, understanding that, oh my goodness, I'm so powerful that I created that, and then I had the experience, I learned from it, I'm not going to do that again. I know how to create another one of those. So let's see, YouTube are censoring my comments that relate this reality to Clownland in the main comment sections on truther channels. Really? It is, though. It really, I'm telling you, it's upside down. We're in upside down land, and we're trying to, you know, flip it back over and turn it right side up. And the only people that can do that is us. We have to do it. And when enough of us come into agreement, all that other stuff will fall away, because we will have no need for it anymore. We won't have governors over us. We won't have mayors. We won't have, you know, policing. We won't have that, because our true nature, and if you really think about it in your heart of hearts, do you want to hurt your neighbor? Do you want to do anything to your neighbor? No. No. Most of us wouldn't. I mean, when we see this craziness going on with looting and stuff like that, when we think about it, would we want to tear up our own neighborhood? Would we? Would we really go that far as to tear up our own neighborhood? No. Why would we want to destroy the convenience of our grocery store, or the clothing stores, or the different places that we're able to go to pick up whatever it is that we need or desire at that moment? We wouldn't. That's not in our nature. So you can just see that as a false paradigm type, upside down, as she said, clown reality, because that is exactly what it is. Good morning, Voynich. If my neighbor is a cop, yes. Yeah, he's an activist. Easily and happy. It's good. It's good. I'm glad to hear that. Always help, not hurt. And always, and that is true. If we're looking after one another, then we would never want to hurt anybody. We're not gonna. It's really not in our nature. it's more in our nature to feed somebody who's hungry than it is to beat up or bully somebody that is different. If you really think about our true nature, that is, we're more driven to help somebody than to ever hurt somebody. So, and if there's anything we learn from our experience and our expansion, is that, that when you boil us down, we're all unique. We all add color and texture and vibrancy to this world from different aspects, and which keeps it very interesting. And at the same time, we can still walk in that peace that's beyond comprehension and not worry about these other things. They kind of just fall away. The constructs fall away. But if you find yourself, falling into a construct of, even a controlling relationship, if somebody is with you because they're with you in the hopes, or you're with somebody in the hopes that you're going to change them, then you're not with the right person. You should never go into a relationship thinking by any means that they're going to change or you're going to change them. We don't have that kind of authority over each other, and we shouldn't try to express that type of authority over each other. Using love as a weapon is horrible. It's horrible. So make sure you're discerning that. If you're with somebody that's constantly on you about certain things that you do and they don't accept you for who you are, then that relationship's no longer serving. Something to think about. Because I'll tell you, there are so many really good people who will love you for exactly who you are without changing and see no fault in you. So I hope that kind of explains that just a little bit better. Yeah, Voynich is supposed to be coming on here live with me and talking about his journey. So we're gonna get that going. Got my Sky's 5D coming up pretty quick with his awakening story, or I call them stories. They're not really stories. They're experiences. They're experiences that each unique individual has had, and how they grow, and explain what they've seen, perceived, and how it affected them, and where they're at now in their walk. It's really fascinating, and how different each of them are, with a lot of synchronicity. There's synchronicities in them, but still diverse. It's really beautiful. Really beautiful. So that's pretty much, I'm going to keep this one kind of short, because I know that even though this is coming from a place of love, it is going to ruffle some feathers, especially when I am just outright telling you that there is no hell. There is no condemnation. None of that even exists. When you leave from here, you move on. You do not you do not go to be condemned by anybody. It does not happen. That is fake. That is not real. That is not a part of reality. So those are things we need to discern and understand, just like manifesting evil spirits and things like that. So, if we start all believing that there's UFOs, I guarantee you we're going to start really seeing UFOs. It's all in what we believe, and what we create from our heart will then manifest in the material, physical, what we call the physical world. It'll manifest out there. We'll see it. We'll be able to be like, oh my gosh, see, I told you, it's real, I told you. Because now, not only will we see it, other people will too. But it's a group. That's collective consciousness at work. And today I just wanted to touch on why we still have control constructs in place, mainly talking about governmental bodies, which are in every country all across the world, and religion, and again, which is in every country all across the world. But there actually are many of the religions that really already know that there is no hell. So I'm not saying that they're all, I'm not saying religion is bad. I'm not saying that a government is bad for that matter. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. But from my heart to yours, I would really would like to give you the advice to use discernment if anybody's using condemnation, to not let them sow doubt in you, and just to walk away. Walk away with, in the Bible it says, let no man steal your crown, okay? Your crown is your utmost top thoughts, which comes from your heart, then your mind, to your crown. And when they're stealing your crown, they are actually stealing your capabilities of creation to create what it is that what narrative that they're promoting or pushing. So take that with, take everything I say with discernment. Take everything everybody says with discernment. Seek yourself. Look inside yourself. Do your own introspection, and then look for affirmations, outside of yourself. I guarantee you'll find them. You'll find affirmations for what's going on within you, for questions that you ask. We're always given answers. We don't always get the answer that we want, but we are always getting answers and hearing. And with that said, I want to say thank you guys for coming. Oh my goodness, 17 this early? Wow. This is a short one, and I really am not trying to offend anybody. I just, we're going to start going down, some more serious topics, and getting down to the skivvy of it, on who is it to blame for anything that's going on in this world. So with that, you guys, I want to say, let me pull that up, that share what you know, listen so you grow, and realize how amazing and wonderful that you are. I love you guys. Have a good day.